We're live.
We're live. Hello. Welcome. So today I'm Kelly. This is Katarina. And today we're going to be talking about something very interesting and something very relevant, which is chaos, change, bodies, and how all of those things work together. Sometimes it seems they don't work together. So welcome, Kat. Thank you. I'm really
Thank
excited.
you.
So I actually wanted to take it back to like super basics and ask you just for your sense of what is chaos? And what have we made it that it's not? Like what have we not made it that it is? Like those things.
And before I even go there, if you're on this live and you don't understand English or just understand English a little bit, Roberta just posted translation to Italian, Croatian, French, and in the comments. So you can jump on there and maybe you understand more, or you stay here and you understand through the chaos of, not your language, but still an energetic, some kind of energetic infusion. So, yeah, I would say, so I think that most people confuse chaos and havoc because it's often when we're kids, we're quite chaotic. Like we don't really, we change our mind, we play something and then we go, oh, that's not fun anymore. And we go over here and play. Like our lives is chaotic. We're in that phase where nothing has really solidified into right or wrong, good or bad. So we're we move and change all the time. So as we grow up, I think that a lot of times we're told basically to calm down, to think before we talk, to like become less chaotic. And that actually makes us think that the best way to be an adult, the best way to fit into this reality is to order everything, like to order our chaos. And this is where we try to order our chaos not to be havoc. And havoc is destructive. Havoc is really like, I think I looked it up right before. So havoc is destruction of a big area, for example. But chaos is actually confusion, big confusion. And confusion is, if you look at it, that's when something is undefined. It's when something is not concluded. It's not polarized into right or wrong, good or bad. You're not really sure. You're still in the question. So chaos is really about being in the question, not going to conclusion, not going to decision straight away and trying to, order it into right or wrong, good and bad. So I would say everywhere where we've confused havoc and chaos and made it the same thing, like anything that you can't define, anything that you don't understand, we go, oh, that's chaos. I don't want that. But what if possibility is actually in chaos, not in havoc, not in destruction, but in chaos, because chaos is what's not yet defined, what's not yet concluded, what you haven't even explored or tried yet. And I was saying, today's world, there's a lot of havoc. There's a lot of havoc that is created politically in the world, like in all kinds of different areas, which is destructive. And our natural instinct is to try to order that havoc, right? To get away from it. And really, the way to actually get out of it is to be willing to bring in the chaos, to bring in the question, to go beyond the conclusions of the right and wrong, good and bad. So you can actually, the way to kind of like handle havoc is to go to chaos, not go to order. So it completely, there's like it's not what we learned. It's something different. And when you start looking at like the potency of the question and the potency of non-judgment, non-conclusion, you start seeing how chaos actually opens up the space to be all of that.
So that's so beautiful. And while you were talking, I was wondering to myself, if chaos is our natural way of being, but yet we here in the havoc trying to somehow make sense of it, like what, and you mentioned that the world is in a lot of havoc right now. And people seem like, so I wonder what the effect of that is, like on our
Mm.
beings, on our, like, could you, yeah.
Well, that's a great question, especially we can even take it back to the bodies. Like, what's the effect of being in a world of havoc? I never really looked at it like that before, but I think because we think that havoc is something we need to order to handle, I think we actually order ourselves, like our beings and our bodies, and we desperately try to find the right and wrong, the good and bad. Like we try to find the polarized right answer to handle the havoc that we're perceiving, instead of going to the question and that like softness of exploring. Because one of the things that happens with our bodies is that because we've learned that chaos is wrong, since we think it's havoc, we order our bodies a lot. In that ordering, in order to handle it, any kind of like destructive thing that we think is destructive, we contract and we put like, be there, this part of the body should function like that. And it doesn't allow the body to move and shift and change in the way it naturally does. Because our bodies are literally, they're energy that has like solidified itself temporarily into this physical form, but it still keeps moving. So because it's always moving, anytime we try to order it, solidify it, we stop the movement. Most disease is ordered. It's something that we've ordered into our body, that we locked into our body, that we solidified into our body. And the way to heal, to change it, is really to add chaos. A lot of medicines do that. A lot of medicines add chaos, but also a lot of any kind of healing. Like if you do breath work for trauma work, for example, it's adding an element of chaos. You're adding something different. Fascia. Our fascia is often like solidified and contracted in places where we lock trauma in, where we try to order the trauma in order to understand it. And when we work on parts of our bodies like that, what we're adding is like literally a chaos to what we've ordered into this like contracted form. So chaos is really like this. It's going into the question and the possibility and the movement. Especially, I think the movement. Chaos is movement. Order is solidity, and havoc is destruction.
Well, I find that like quite and maybe I'm just not educated on it, but that to me is quite like a revolutionary statement. Like, in order to bring healing, like healing actually requires chaos. It doesn't, because, like I know for myself, when I'm in pain, you don't even want to think about chaos. You just want to be like in the tiny little, curl up in the tiny little ball, So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting too, because that's how yes, I totally agree. First, when it comes to pain, what we've learned to do is to order it and contract it and try to make it as small as possible, which actually requires us to solidify it and go out of the question. We need to define it. We need to understand it. We need to make sure we know what it is so that we can fix it, because it hurts so much. And yet, like, there are a lot of miraculous healings that occurs with cancer, for example, with somebody, I don't know, just eat carrots for a year. And it works for that person because it adds, please, if you have cancer, do not think I'm suggesting that you're going to eat carrot for a whole year. I'm just using this as an example of these like odd kind of chaotic ways of healing that sometimes works for people. It's because it brings them out of whatever ordered form they've been doing. And it allows this chaos that can bring in miracles. So again, the chaos is unique for you. It's not like there's not a recipe for chaos. So this is how we're all ordered, and this is how we all bring in chaos. Then it's order, right? So chaos is unique for every single person. And what is chaos for you is unique for you. But if we back up a little bit, like for for our bodies in general, they really tend to enjoy infusions of different energy during a day. Like if you live a very ordered life where you do the same workout, if you do a workout, but if you go to the same place every day, you have the same routine every day, you work out the same way every day, your body will slowly kind of like get very used to that, probably be able to handle whatever it is you're doing every day very well, but it will solidify itself in that order so that when you bring in something else, it actually creates chaos just by walking another way to work. You can bring in a little bit of chaos with your body, right? Just by today, I was like, it was like a kind of like a heavy, I was a little sleepy in the afternoon, and I was like, what's going on? So I took off my socks and I walked out barefoot in my garden, which is full of snow. So it created this, I don't usually do that. It was like a new thing, but it got very cold, right, through my feet. I thought it was an amazing feeling to feel how the snow melted under my bare feet from the heat on my body. And I completely woke up. Like it woke up, and it's a way of adding a chaos. Like it's not like now every day I will walk out in the snow. I do it again, but that particular, it's a chaotic element. Ice baths, chaotic element. Like this way of like disrupting whatever order and solidity that we've been trained to put our bodies in. And we can do that with energies. You can do that by choosing something we don't usually choose. We can do it by pushing our bodies a little bit. We can do it by trying something we've never tried doing before. And when it comes to healing, that's why sometimes, if you're in a lot of pain, the doctors even suggest take a painkiller, not because it will heal it, but because it actually disrupts the pain you're in. So the body kind of forgets that it's in pain, right? It disrupts again the order of pain. So there's so many ways that we can insert chaos, but we have to really go to that we're looking for chaos. We're looking to disrupt the order, deconstruct the order and the solidity that our bodies are, that we've learned, to have our bodies function from. And now I work with Access Consciousness body classes, and in those classes, people get to run all these different kinds of energies. And there's a manual where I think like 60 different body processes that are all energetic body processes that we facilitate during the classes, and the people get to run on each other. They are all a chaotic energy. Those energies are energies that the bodies haven't necessarily been introduced to before. So we're introducing this chaotic energy, an energy of question, an energy of possibility, an energy that the body is invited to receive, that can disrupt, deconstruct the previous order that your body functioned from. And then the body has the possibility of choosing something different in the being as well.
You know what that makes me think of, Kat, is remember, like a lot of the time people will say we only use 5% of our brain.
Right.
Whatever
Yeah.
that is. And I wonder how much, I wonder what percentage of our body's capabilities and capacities we actually using, because we tend to go into no, safe, I don't want to go too far.
Yeah.
And then so the care, and I wonder if you, if someone wants to start exploring adding those chaotic elements, I love it. It sounds like a superhero story. What can they
Yeah.
do? Yeah.
Well, that's such a good point. I haven't thought of that, because yes, we know from science that we use, I don't even know if it's 10%, but it's like a very small percentage of our brain. And it would make total sense for me. And it's very congruent and light that we only use a tiny percentage of the energetic chaos that our bodies are actually able to be. And now when you said that, one of the things that always fascinates me is how a human body can, in a split second, in an emergency situation, we can step in to beyond capacity. So like if I think there is a story circulating everywhere, this grandmother whose grandson was under a car, like run over like well, probably not totally, but and she managed to lift the whole car. And it's this like it's a story that science use for how to they can't describe like the actual strength that we have in our bodies. But that is that moment, that woman, whoever she was, wasn't willing to stay ordered. She wasn't willing to buy the structures of limitation for her body. And she had so much more available that she could lift that car and get her grandson out from it. And I remember I had this experience many, many years ago. I was nearly drowning in Australia. I was caught in like a riptide, and I couldn't. I had forgotten that you're not supposed to swim in. If you're ever in a riptide, swim sideways, because then you can swim out of the actual tide and then swim into the shore. Just a tiny bit of information that may be good for somebody, but I had completely forgotten that. And I tried to swim into shore straight in through the riptide, and it didn't work. And I kept being sucked further and further out. I was getting more and more tired. The waves were getting higher. And I was like, I'm going to drown. I'm going to die here. And nobody's going to know, because nobody knew that I was out swimming. I'm like, I'm literally going to disappear. And nobody will even know what happened to me. And I was like, within, I went like, okay, no. This is not happening. This is not happening. It's no, like that really the demand of no. And somewhere within, I found this like extra strength, even though my legs and arms were full of adrenaline and like that shaky that you get, when you're like overextended yourself. And I somehow jumped. I can't even explain it, but like I jumped in so that I can feel a little bit of sand under my toes. And then I kept like finding that extra strength. So I got in far enough that I could like fall down. And then these Australian, like they have like beach savers. So these Australian beach savers, they have little hats on. They look very funny. But they came up and they saw me like struggle up, and they came up and saved me and gave me oxygen. And it was like a big thing because I guess I was very exhausted once I got up there, but I know that I accessed something, a will, like a power based on pure sheer will to not drown in that moment. And that's, again, this like, it's a chaotic moment. It doesn't come from order or from logic. It comes from accessing the chaos. And it's a great example of, that's definitely not havoc, right? Because havoc is so clearly destruction. That's not havoc what I'm accessing. However, I am accessing confusion, right? No definition. I don't know how it happened. I am confused about how it happened. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't understand it. I'm accessing the chaos of possibility with my body.
So that is obviously quite an extreme example that I don't think we'd want to do again.
Let's not, don't go and try it. But yeah.
But like I wonder then how, like, is chaos with our body something that we can have more in our day-to-day life? And what could that be?
Well, I think that as we talked about before, I think you can choose to continuously add chaos. And I think that when you have these, because I think all of us have moments where we kind of like have a sense of slugginess, like heaviness, slugginess, kind of like solidity. I think that's the time to add chaos. And chaos can look in so many different ways. It can look like walking out in the snow, but it can also really look at doing something you don't usually do with your body and eating something that you don't usually eat. Like literally, chaos is inserting something that doesn't fit with whatever order you decided that your life should look like. And I think routines and tenacity are great for bodies too. So I'm not saying stop doing whatever, workout or diet or whatever you do. Just be aware that if you mix it with chaos, it will create even more. That's why, like in workouts, people say don't train the same muscles all the time. Don't do the same workout every day, because your body will gain more. It will grow better. It will develop better if you change it up. So this
Yeah.
is like, take that into your whole life. Add chaos. Anytime you have this sense that you've done the same thing, you've infused yourself with the same energies, the same people, the same conversations, the same movement, the same life. It's time to add something different. Just even take a walk to a different part of your city or your country. Like, allow your body to infuse some other energies into your life. And if you're working with like how to feel better, if there's like pain or disease or anything like that, go to question, like, hey body, what energy do you require? What chaos can I add to you that would allow you to get more awareness? Because it doesn't necessarily mean it should fix it. You're not looking for this linear fixing. You're looking again to add confusion and chaos. So we're so used to try to find the answer. We're trying to get out of the answer with the chaos.
Yeah.
So everyone is listening to this, what question can you be? Like, anytime you go to the answer, okay, so what question can I be here instead? And what can I choose here that could add the energy of chaos to my body, my life, and my future?
I love how these go where we didn't expect always, and that was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go and do something chaotic.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, and thank you all translators.
Yay. Bye.